Hey, it's Brittany Bilo, and you are watching Fiercely Focused. This is the place to be if you're a savvy, career, business, driven, and focused person who's really looking to create a life and create a business and grow a career that allows you to live your most confident, happy, and intentional life. If you are watching the replay, do me a huge favor and comment below replay or comment and say, hey, if you are watching live. Hey, Katie. So tonight I want to talk all about really how you can use 3 principles that you're probably not really using and you might not be aware of. Hey, Roxanne. Hey, Christina. And these are 3 principles when you're connecting with people, when you're given the opportunity to influence somebody. Hey, Fred, you can actually use these principles to get good results and get you exactly what you're trying to get, or really grow a relationship with someone. And these principles actually were featured in the blog that I posted today. So if you're subscribed to my blog, be sure to read it. You might have seen that already, but I'm going to talk through those just more you and I, because I do write my blog and I try to be personal with it, but it's just so much better for me to actually be here and be personal with you in video. And I love doing live blogging and live trainings. And if you have any friends that you think could benefit from any of the content that I've recently shared, I'm really expanding and growing the Fiercely Focused series because it's honestly helped me to just blog better and get better ideas and think through how to actually apply it. And these are things that I do. These are things that I'm practicing. So if it is something that you love or that you can share, please share it with your friends and make sure that they're able to connect with you and with me. So I'm going to share 3 principles that, again, were featured in the blog. Be sure to subscribe. I will have a link to that. And this can actually have a significant impact in the way you build a relationship or business, your career. You know, there are tons of people who influence us and a lot of people who we influence without realizing it. But if you're more aware and you're more conscious of what you're bringing to the table, what you're actually showing people when you're interacting with them and when you meet them, that's a lot of influence right in that moment, whether it's the first time or 5th time. You have an ability and opportunity right there to shift the dynamic. And it does take time to nurture relationships. We are all in a business or a career that we're really trying to level up. I don't know any single person, well, there's not anyone in my network who is like, oh, I love everything in my life, my job, my business, it's perfect. I don't need it to change. I don't need it to get better. I don't need to make more money. I don't need to get a promotion. I don't need to take on more responsibility. I don't want to learn more. I just don't hear people saying stuff like that. So I know that if you're somebody in a business and you're growing in a career, or you're trying to just change a career, especially if you're trying to change career, or you're trying to start a business, like you've just gotten started. I've met so many of you who recently told me, I just started up a business like 6 months ago, or it's my first year, and there's so much to learn. And many people, even in careers, they tell us certain things we need to do. And when we were in college, there were things people told us to do. And there were books we were told to read, and even still, we read books. We consume a lot of information. Hey, Christina. Hey, Emily. So we're told to do these different things. College, you start your career, you start training. They teach you the job. They teach you theory, but actually getting something done and getting true skill, the only way that you can even get a skill in anything is if you experience it, if you practice it. Hey, Michelle. So you can't get experience by reading a book or listening to something or attending a training, like going to a class, even sitting here, listening to me. If you're picking up some things you want to try out, like you actually have to try them. You have to do them so you can actually see, you know, what do I need to change? What should I do? And it's going to feel awkward at first. Hey, Sherry. It's going to feel awkward at first. It's going to feel uncomfortable because it is. It's something you've not done or you haven't really been paying attention to. And when you do, you're going to notice a huge change in how you're able to influence your family, your friends, people that you're working with, colleagues, just how you're able to interact and shift the dynamic. So I'll start with really why this is so important to me and why I am even here talking about it. And it all started for me when I first joined, my first job at a communications company. And I just, ironically, it was a communications company. So I wasn't really communicating properly and effectively in the way that I could have been. And so in hindsight, I'm just so embarrassed, like looking back at who I was and how I treated people or how I interacted. Like I was embarrassed. It's embarrassing to think about, but I'm so glad because I learned, hey, Trey and Keenan, I learned so many lessons and I can laugh about them now and like never make them again. But there's things I'm practicing. So when I first got started in corporate, I was really young. I didn't really have any experience other than doing a little bit of retail work. And then the retail work that I did, hey, Trey, hey, David. So the retail work I did, my first job I ever had was at Mervyn's. Yes, and there's like a department store that closed down if you're not in Texas. That is a department store. It closed down a long time ago. And I don't really know what to compare it to, but it was not great. I worked in the shoe department, and that already sucked because, I mean, you know how it is when you go try on shoes at a store, and some of y'all, let's be honest, you just throw the shoe down or you move the box and you don't put them back. So I'm walking around like touching all these funky shoes where people put them on and tried them on, took them off, and have their foot funk in them. I lasted at that job for like 2 months. I'm like, okay, I'm going to work at a real job, which I equated sitting behind a desk being a real job because I saw it on the TV and I thought it was cool. Working in an office, all that life. So, hey, Sean. So I got my office job and everything was great, but it was so different in the way people communicated and talked. Like I worked at this janky department store. My manager was really, really young. I don't think she'd ever managed anybody. And the way she treated me is kind of how I learned you're supposed to treat people because she's my manager and obviously she knows what she's doing. Hell no. Don't ever think that just because you see someone doing something, if you're starting out in a new career, a new job, like if it looks wrong, it feels wrong, it's probably wrong. And not everybody knows what they're doing. So I'm just going to say that flat out. Some of y'all might know some people who are managing people or running a business and they don't know anything about anything. They don't know how to manage people. They don't know how to lead people. They don't know how to treat people. They don't know how to talk, communicate, connect, none of that. And in business, it still applies. Everything is relative. Being able to connect with someone is truly going to change so much in your life if you know what you're doing. And I went into a corporate job trying to act the way this nasty manager who really didn't know much was. And I quickly learned like, oh my God, we have corporate emails. There's a certain way to write. There's a certain way to respond to people. There was all these things that I just didn't know. So as I learned, these are the things I wish people would have taught me. But the number one thing I wish somebody would have taught me was how to really value any relationship that you have and really truly connect with that person and like actually care about what they're saying, even if you don't. Not that I'm saying fake it all the time, but let's be real here. I'm sure that you've run into people and you've met people that they start talking to you and you just don't really vibe with them. And they might make you feel icky. They're not that great. But you immediately, when they're nerdy, dorky, they just don't vibe with you. You don't have anything in common. But you can actually make them feel like you do and show interest if you're actually taking time to really listen to them and connect. Now, many of us don't do that because we're too busy thinking about how we're going to exit this conversation. I don't want to be here. This is so awkward. I don't really know what they're talking about. I don't really like the way their hair looks. They smell kind of funny. Like all these things that you might be thinking, instead of like just taking 30 seconds, like literally 30 seconds to just listen to what it is they're saying and truly take that information and process it, because you can so quickly get an instant connection to somebody, at least finding out how they're feeling, what they are passionate about, whatever they're talking about. I'm sure you can see some sort of emotion on their face or in their voice. And that is what you should be paying attention to, because it's going to help you to better connect with them. So I'm going to jump on in here to the 3 connecting principles that I want to share with you, that they really will help, because these are things that you can start doing right now. These are things that you probably aren't even thinking about. And the first thing is to remember that it's all about other people. So in the first example that I just gave, you are in a conversation with someone and maybe they're just not interesting to you. Maybe there is nothing in common whatsoever. But if you just take 30 seconds to listen and respond back, asking them a question about whatever they just talked about, not asking, what did you say? Because you want them to know you were listening. So ask them something about whatever they just spoke to you about, or acknowledge their feelings. If they're upset, if they're sad, if they're overly excited, get in the feelings with them and acknowledge that. It's all about other people. It's not about you. So make sure you don't make the mistake of starting a conversation with someone and having them talk, and then you don't even acknowledge anything they say, and you just start talking all about yourself or whatever, how your day was, or whatever you need and what you want. And that is not how to connect with people, because I mean, you and I could be talking and then I'm sitting here sharing some things with you about how to connect better, and then I ask you a question and your response is, I wonder what I should have for dinner later. You know how rude that is? You know how many people, and that is just a very simple, basic example, but do you know how many people do that and immediately just destroy their credibility and any opportunity for future longer term business or career growth because they just gave somebody a bad impression of them? And then guess what? That person's going to tell whoever, like, Brittany just didn't care about what I said. I was talking to her about when my dog was sick and everything that we had to do and how much money I spent, kind of like Luca. But as soon as I finished talking, she just started telling me what she's going to be doing next week and her plans for the weekend. If you do that, it's so disingenuous, and you are going to, like I said, destroy your credibility. So just make sure when you're meeting, you're talking with somebody, make it about them. Make sure that you're in it, that you understand, and you truly take time to connect with them. And you have to go beyond your words. So the second point is make sure that you are using expressions, smile, cry. I don't know. If you're talking about something, like get vulnerable. You want to make sure that people can connect and understand you. Now, I'm not saying if somebody starts crying to just cry with them. If you're an empath and you're somebody who's super emotional, like me, I'll probably start crying if you start crying. Some people aren't like that. I'm not saying you have to be, but it shows like you're a human. It shows that you care. It's something that we need to be better about. And when we're excited about things, like, show it. We are like, now we're glued to our phones, right? And how many times do you have people text you or send you things and it's like this funny thing, or they say something and they put LOL, or they put a laughing emoji, and did you even really laugh? Probably not. I mean, there's times, oh, LOL, and I'm like, or something. But it's easy to fake it, and we can't fake it in person. That's my point. You can be behind a screen or behind your phone, but when you're talking to somebody, make sure that you're in it. And I know that it might be awkward if you're not even trying, but I guarantee you, like, even for me, when I'm doing live training or when I'm in a classroom doing anything, facilitating something, if I am doing this, I used to suck at actually like taking time to smile and stop because I just felt awkward. And I didn't use my hands much, but now I probably use them too much. But because there's certain things I want you to understand and certain points I want to make. And if I'm talking about something cool and exciting, I don't want to have a dead face and be like, oh yeah, this is going to be so fun. Oh yeah, by the way, anybody who does coaching with me next year, I am going to be taking on a cruise. Or I could say it, oh my gosh, you guys, I am so excited that in 2019, all of my coaching clients who are with me for the year are going on a free cruise. Like, I'm paying for you to go on a cruise to celebrate your successes for the year and plan for 2020. So, see, my face is a lot different. I sounded more excited, tone changed. Make sure you're in it. And by the way, that's true. If you want to learn more about 2019 and my coaching and the cruise, just send me a message. But let me hop over to the final point here because I know I'm about to be out of time and I have another training group to get to. So the last, exude positive vibes. We're all about hashtag positive vibes, hashtag positivity, hashtag grateful. Whatever you're hashtagging and you're trying to put out positive energy everywhere, don't just do that on your Instagram or here on Facebook. Make sure you're doing that in real life. If you're talking to somebody and they're struggling with something and they're telling you about it, like, you don't want to get down in the dumps and discourage them. Like, give them some positive energy, pray with them, tell them, you know, experiences that they might be able to relate to and how you got through it. Talk to them about coming out on the other side, like it's going to be okay. And have good energy when you interact with people. You want to make sure you're not taking away and draining everybody. We all have that friend that calls or wants to hang out whenever they broke up with somebody or they're upset, had a really shitty day. Like, I love y'all, but sometimes you have to hang out with people and talk to them when things are good too, and spend time focusing on that. We all have our bad days, but if you put good energy into your interactions, or for the most part, you're putting good energy and you're not just pulling and draining from somebody, you're going to have a much better, more effective and fun relationship, whether it's your friend, whether it's coworkers or colleagues. It's going to be so much better if you actually put out some positivity and you have good energy when you go into that conversation. I posted something recently and actually got some really good feedback. It was on Instagram and I might have posted it on Facebook, but it was this little meme and it said that your energy speaks before you do. So people can feel when you walk into a room, and I recently had somebody I spoke to kind of give a similar situation where you walked into a room or you got around a group of people and you just felt like something feels off here. Like, I don't know what it is, but I don't want to be here. Like, that is real. And there's times you walk into a room and it's like, woo, popping, everything's so fun. You want to be there. It's awesome. There is that kind of energy. Like, we want to be there. We want to be in the party, right? But make sure that that's the kind of environment you're creating. I mean, you don't have to be pump up party all the time, but you also don't want to just like give people this like icky, nasty vibe when they are in a conversation with you. So I hope this has been helpful to you. Hey, Benny and Sarah, Blake. I hope this has been helpful, and please feel free to share this with a friend. And like I said, I do plan on taking my coaching clients on a cruise next year, and I'm actually going to be sharing more about that later. I just wanted to throw that in because it's really exciting. I'm actually in the process of planning things right now with my team, and I have the pleasure of partnering with one of my fellow John Maxwell coaches, and he is in Dallas, so very convenient, and he's got a great group of coaches and speakers who are going to be on this cruise as well, and it's basically going to be the highlight of my 2019, because going on that is going to mean that anyone who works with me and with us is going to know that they've actually gone through real true coaching and Maxwell coaching, you guys. I'm just going to say he knows his stuff. And if I can work with you on that, oh, it's so fun. You've no freaking idea. But I'm taking my clients all on a cruise. And that's honestly to celebrate, because there's going to be a lot of shit to celebrate. You're going to do so many things. Like when you have somebody pulling you through things and pushing you to, you know, keep going and not give up, and actually has been there and has a plan, and their only purpose is to help you. It's beautiful. And these people are amazing. Everything that we've been able to accomplish and that we are accomplishing, it's amazing. And I want you to be part of that. So please feel free to reach out if you want more information. I'm sure I'll be talking about it soon. I'll be sharing more, but just heads up. Now, I am going to get going because I have another training, but that's all I have for you. And so until next time, I want you to make sure that you get out there, make things happen by actually taking an action, do something. Don't just think about it, go do it. And I will see you next time. Have a great evening.